Billie Eilish, the enigmatic voice behind haunting anthems like Birds of a Feather, stepped into the spotlight once again, not just as a musical prodigy but as a vocal advocate for social change, during a high-profile gala that celebrated innovation across industries. At this star-studded event, where luminaries from tech, fashion, and entertainment converged, the young artist accepted a prestigious accolade recognizing her groundbreaking contributions to music. What started as a seemingly standard acceptance speech quickly morphed into a raw, unfiltered manifesto on privilege, philanthropy, and the moral imperatives of extreme wealth. Eilish, at just 23 years old, stood before an audience brimming with some of the world's most influential figures, think tech moguls, fashion icons, and Hollywood elite, and didn't hold back. She announced a staggering personal commitment, channeling $11.5 million from the proceeds of her wildly successful world tour directly into causes that support those in need. This wasn't a vague promise or a token gesture. It was a concrete, verifiable pledge to redirect funds toward humanitarian efforts, from environmental conservation to community aid programs that address systemic inequalities. As the applause rippled through the room, Eilish seized the moment to expand her message beyond her own actions. With a mix of earnest plea and playful candor that has become her trademark, she turned her gaze to the crowd, her voice steady yet laced with urgency. "I'd say if you have money it would be great to use it for good things, maybe give it to some people that need it," she began, her words hanging in the air like a challenge. She paused, letting the simplicity of the statement sink in before adding a sharper edge. "Love you all, but there's a few people in here that have a lot more money than me. If you're a billionaire, why are you a billionaire? No hate, but yeah, give your money away, shorties." The room, populated by figures like Mark Zuckerberg and Priscilla Chan, Hailey Bieber, George Lucas, Tory Burch, and Karlie Kloss, included a constellation of individuals whose net worths could eclipse entire economies. Eilish's use of shorties, a casual, almost affectionate slang term, softened the blow just enough to keep the tone conversational, yet it underscored the generational chasm between her Gen Z authenticity and the polished reserve of her elders. The speech, delivered with the poise of someone far beyond her years, wasn't merely a call to arms. It was a mirror held up to the attendees, forcing a collective reckoning with the ethics of accumulation in an era of widening wealth gaps. Eilish's vulnerability shone through as she shared glimpses of her own journey, from a bedroom producer in Los Angeles to a global phenomenon whose tours gross hundreds of millions. She spoke of the surreal disconnect between her success and the struggles she witnesses daily, from climate disasters displacing families to healthcare inaccessibility plaguing communities. "I've been lucky," she admitted, her voice cracking slightly, "but luck shouldn't be the line between thriving and surviving." This personal touch transformed the speech from abstract advocacy into a relatable narrative, one that resonated with fans who have followed her evolution from teen angst in Ocean Eyes to mature introspection in her latest works. By tying her donation to the tour, a grueling, globe-spanning endeavor that saw her perform to sold-out arenas amid personal battles with fame's toll, Eilish humanized the act of giving, showing it as an extension of her art rather than a detached obligation. In the hours following the event, the internet erupted into a maelstrom of discourse, with Eilish's words slicing through feeds like a viral fever dream. Social media platforms, particularly X, formerly Twitter, became a battleground where supporters hailed her as a beacon of progressive courage, while detractors dissected her motives with surgical precision. One viral thread captured the fervor. A user posted a clip of the speech's climax, captioning it, "She's shading Taylor, I think," igniting a firestorm of speculation. Why Taylor Swift? The connection wasn't explicit. Swift, a fellow pop titan and billionaire whose era's tour shattered records, wasn't even in attendance. Yet, the pop world's undercurrents of rivalry and comparison fueled the narrative. Swift's own philanthropy, from disaster relief funds to artist advocacy, has been well documented, but critics pointed to her private jet usage and real estate empire as symbols of unchecked excess. Meanwhile, what has Taylor donated? One skeptic tweeted, sparking a deluge of fact-checks and counterarguments. Defenders flooded in, citing Swift's $100 million plus in career-long giving, her quiet support for LGBTQ+ causes, and her legal battles for artists' rights. "This is directed at every single billionaire," one eloquent response clarified. "At Elon Musk, at Taylor Swift, and everyone in between." The debate spilled into Reddit forums and TikTok stitches, where users dissected the speech frame by frame, analyzing Eilish's body language for subtle nods to industry peers. Not all reactions were supportive, however. A vocal contingent dismissed the gesture as performative wokeness, the kind of virtue signaling that plagues celebrity culture. So she is donating to the climate crisis globalist grift, one cynic wrote, weaving in conspiracy-laden rhetoric about elite agendas. She is either in on it or just really, really dumb. Others zeroed in on the publicity angle, making donations and then announcing it, "I know what you are, Billie." The tax implications drew particular ire, with comments like, "a nice big tax write-off," framing her generosity as savvy accounting rather than sincere altruism. These critiques echoed broader frustrations with celebrity activism, how announcements often serve as PR boosts, overshadowing the actual impact. Eilish's history of environmental advocacy, from sustainable tour practices to her 2021 Apple TV Plus documentary on climate anxiety, provided fodder for both sides. Supporters saw continuity in her values, while skeptics viewed it as brand consistency over genuine change. Yet, amid the noise, a chorus of affirmation rose, emphasizing the rarity of such unapologetic candor from someone so young and influential. "She did a good thing and she's still getting hate for it, be for real," one fan tweeted, encapsulating the exhaustion with online pile-ons. Eilish's speech tapped into a zeitgeist of millennial and Gen Z disillusionment, where figures like her are expected to bridge entertainment and ethics. Her donation, earmarked for organizations tackling food insecurity and mental health in underserved areas, isn't a one-off, it's part of a pattern. In 2023 she partnered with Support Plus Feed to combat hunger, and her merch lines often fund reforestation. This latest move amplifies that ethos, challenging the room's billionaires to match her percentage-based giving. Eilish's $11.5 million represents a significant slice of her tour earnings, a benchmark few ultra-wealthy attendees could claim. The broader implications of Eilish's words ripple far beyond the gala's gilded walls. In a world grappling with trillion-dollar corporations and skyrocketing inequality, her plea echoes calls from economists like Thomas Piketty, who argue that extreme wealth hoarding stifles innovation and exacerbates crises. By name-dropping billionaires without malice, no hate but yeah.